I was living in Mansfield, Ohio, when I saw an air circus. And we get out to this field, and these things are up in the air, like birds, buzzing, diving, and climbing, and rolling, and turning. And then they come down, and they land, and people get out of them. That's what I guess gave me the feeling that I wanted to fly. I wanted to fly an airplane. I wanted to get in and do that. I wanted to fly an airplane since I was like 5 years of age. And as I grew up, the interest in aviation was there. And I used to read about airplanes and dress like an airplane pilot and make model airplanes. I was doing dishes on a Sunday when the news came over the radio about the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor. And I felt that this would give me an opportunity to go into service and become a pilot. In those years, when a guy turned 18, he had to register for the draft, and then they gave you a draft card. And one day, a policeman stopped the car, and the policeman wanted to see your driver's license, your draft card, and all that stuff. And I said, "Well, look, I'm only 17. I don't have a draft card." I said, "But when I go into service, I want to be a pilot." And this white policeman, didn't see a dumb, stupid black guy that wanted to be a pilot. He said, "Look, you can go to the customs house at 2nd and Chestnut and take a test. And if you pass the test, they'll put you on track to go to flight school." I took the test. I turned 18 in September of 43. A month later, I was called in to take the oath, and I was inducted into the military. On the train going down to Mississippi, I think they said it's like somewhere on the Mason-Dixon line, somewhere along in there, where they have black people move from one car to another. I was sitting next to a white lady with a child, and I figured they probably thought I was her man Friday or her servant or something, because they didn't require me to move. I even slept in the bunk above her. Things went well until we actually got to Biloxi, Mississippi, which is where Keesler Field is located. And then I learned that soldiers are segregated by race. And the notion then was that no black person would command white personnel. And there were some guys that were eliminated right there at Keesler Field, didn't get a chance to go to Tuskegee. Every so often they would call out a formation, and from the formation they would call names. So the next time they called out a formation, and I was on a list that was told to go in back of the ready room, and learned that we would be going to Tuskegee in a couple of weeks. And oh man, at least I'll get to go to Tuskegee. At least I'll get a chance to learn how to fly, The elimination rate was like 66%. So I'm one of the guys that finished, and that was a tremendous boost to my self-confidence and ego. And I finished flight school in March of 45. The war in Europe ended in May, and then in August, I think, is when they dropped the bomb in Japan, and that ended that part of the war. But during the course of the war, our guys flew missions with the 12th Air Force, the 15th Air Force, and their credit was shooting down 112 at aerial combat and 150 on the ground. I stayed in until July of 46. Then I was discharged, and I used the GI Bill to go to school. When I talk to kids in schools, I tell them, along with your A's and B's, you need 3 D's. You need a dream. Your dream is what you want for your life. What do you want for your children when you have a family? That's your dream. You have to have a dream. And then you have to have the desire to want to make that dream real. And then you have to have the discipline, the self-discipline, so you can accomplish your dream. We talked about the 3 Ds, desire, dream, and discipline. And those are the things that help make up give strength to your wings. And you can find your wings by making full use of those attributes. Find your wings so you can sail on in this life.